Raptors had an ugly loss against the Oklahoma City Thunder last night. In this video, I'll break down the real reason the Raptors look so bad against Oklahoma City. Do a little game recap, take a look at Scottie Barnes' performance over the last few games, as well as look forward to what injuries we're dealing with now going into Indiana. So a bunch of stuff to break down. Without further ado, let's jump straight into it. Hello everybody, VanVleet here at the Raptors Digest, breaking down the latest Toronto Raptors news. And guys, if you guys want to stay up to date with everything surrounding this team, surrounding the Toronto Raptors, the highs and lows, definitely subscribe to Raptors Digest. It helps us out big time. It keeps you, keeps your finger on the pulse with everything surrounding this team. But let's dive into the news. And the first thing we're taking a look at is the real reason the Raptors look so bad against the Oklahoma City Thunder. Now, I'll do a little game recap in this video. Don't worry. This isn't the only reason the Raptors lost. There's a multitude of factors that went into it. Oklahoma City played great, but there's a couple things that came into play in terms of why the Raptors looked so horrifically awful against Oklahoma City last night. Now, anyone that watched this game could see something was off about this Raptors squad. They just didn't have their stuff together. They looked horrible on defense, especially after that first quarter, even in the first quarter itself for moments, right? This team just didn't have the gel that, it's not their night in, night out, but even on bad nights, it just felt worse in this game here tonight. And we're getting some insights as to why in this game following it up. And Michael Grange came out and said that Fred VanVleet just shuffled by me in the hall with a mask on, moving like a guy that has the flu. Nick Nurse says, who doesn't sound too great himself, said that Fred VanVleet was questionable before the game and they pulled him early, just basically saying that he couldn't provide much of a spark for the guys. So Fred VanVleet himself is dealing with the flu. He's walking around with a mask. That's what Michael Grange confirmed. He was pulled early from this game, right? If you look at the box score in this one, right? Fred VanVleet only 29 minutes, still is up there, even when he's getting pulled early, leading the team in minutes and all that sort of stuff. But not a quality night there for Fred VanVleet by any means. I mean, you can look at the box score. We're not in the game recap yet, but 15 points, 5 of 12 shooting, 3 of 7 from the three-point line, still knocking down his threes and stuff. A few turnovers. Defensively is where we really saw the Raptors being slow-footed, and we got more news on this front coming out. And this is Aaron Rose saying that just listen to Nick Nurse's post-game media availability, and sounds like the team is battling an illness. Nick doesn't sound great. Fred left last night's game early with a non-COVID illness, and quote, there are a couple of guys laboring out there physically last night. Now, I'll discuss this later when talking about some of our other players out there, but obviously it's confirmed. Fred VanVleet, Nick Nurse, probably dealing with something going on, but the fact that there's multiple guys laboring with injuries or something that's keeping them out of the court, right? Likely an illness. There's influenza going around left, right, and center all across Canada right now. So it's tough playing through that. I mean, look at how Gary Trent Jr. performed in the playoffs with that illness. And then when he bounced back, right, he's back to the regular Gary Trent Jr. It's tough. Anyone that's played sports, oh my God, the power is gone. The power went mid-recording of this video, so I'll just leave that in there because I don't think that's ever happened to me while doing a podcast. But as I was saying, anyone that's ever played any sports or stuff and you're dealing with a flu-like virus, you're dealing with something like that, it's almost impossible to get out there up on the court, keep that pace, keep that energy that you want to rock with. So obviously, if this becomes a trend for the Raptors, they didn't look too great defensively against the Houston Rockets the other night, and there's less excuses on that front. But if this is a legitimate thing or if it's more of a one-off night, I'm willing to stay optimistic about this Raptors' chances even without Pascal Siakam in the lineup because he is certainly going to be a key major factor for this team. We do look Pascal Siakam's been our best player this season. We do look like we've taken a step back without him on the court, even Precious Achiuwa there. So hopefully things are fine, and this is a one-off, especially with the defensive just lethargy we saw out there from this team. But let's kind of a game recap in that a little bit, but let's get a proper game recap of this Raptors Thunder game going on now because it was ugly. It was ugly. Now, I'm not going to do my regular post games. Couldn't get the live reaction out last night. I won't do a deep dive like I usually do on those post game live streams in this one, but start off with some negatives. I will start with a positive in this segment. Essentially, Chris Boucher, 20 points, 12 rebounds, 2 steals, a block. Definitely his best game of the season. 6 of 9 from the field, 8 of 10 from the three-point line, from the free throw line. No threes in this one for Boucher, but I thought he was attacking the rim well, finishing, and he's had some slow games as of late. And with Precious Achiuwa going down, Birch still out of the lineup, Pascal Siakam out, we're going to need Chris Boucher to be very effective for the squad coming off the bench. And he was really the one shining light in this loss to the Oklahoma City Thunder, whereas everything else looked a bit tumultuous. He had some deep bench guys play pretty solid. I'll let you look through the box score with the deep bench folks. But in terms of our starters, Koloko, I thought, played decent defense out there. I think the plus-minus reflects that. But again, not great at just finishing around the rim just yet. It's continuing to develop. But OG Anunoby, Fred VanVleet, Scottie Barnes, Gary Trent Jr., none of them shot over 50% for the game. Fred was the only one really knocking down threes out there for this team, with the exception of Malachi Flynn. But yeah, without Pascal Siakam to really release valve our offense and not having one of our top 4 dudes, come out and have a big scoring night, it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough for this Raptors team to get a win, even against Oklahoma City Thunder. And OKC, man, they deserve a lot of credit in this one. They had their bench come in and were really effective. Their Eugene guy off the bench had 22 points. Jalen Williams had 10 and 11. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander in 28 minutes, 24, 3 and 3 steals. This guy is an absolute superstar, and as much as we all want him as Raptors fans, we got to stop going to Oklahoma City subreddits and stuff and saying that we're going to trade for him and all that. That's what people do to Raptors teams, and super annoying. So, when people do it to us. So, as much as we can dream and hope about Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, maybe he gets disgruntled or something like that, but they have a very young, talented team down there in Oklahoma City. They're a cool young group. I'm rooting for this Oklahoma City Thunder team. Maybe in the future we can get Shai, but he'd be a great fit on this Raptors squad. And yeah, just to keep on looking with this Raptors team, right? Boucher was a positive off the bench. Flynn hit a few threes, but again, just doesn't have. I want to see him have this impact in regular rotation minutes. Delano didn't have a big game, in his 17 minutes in this one. Juancho, Nick Nurse was searching for answers. And one of the big disappointments, I think, tonight was just Otto Porter Jr. I felt like this was a game Otto Porter Jr. could have really had an impact in changing the game for this Raptor squad. And again, wasn't that assertive, wasn't that aggressive. And after, his coming out party as a Toronto Raptor in his most recent outing against the Houston Rockets, where he was very clutch in that fourth quarter, I thought tonight would have been a huge game for him to have an impact for this Raptors team. Be that fifth starter, especially where everyone was running a little bit slow in this one. So, I'm not down on OG Anunoby. I'm not down on Gary Trent or any of these guys. Obviously, Gary's got to come back into his own a little bit. Only took 2 threes in this one, so that's a little bit disappointing. 24 minutes for him in this. Not big minutes from anyone in this game, really, for Raptors. Big minutes for the cruise missile tonight. 17 minutes, hit 2 threes. So maybe he'll be slowly working his way back in the rotation. Thaddeus Young, who's played so well for the squad, only 9 minutes, 4 points, 2 rebounds, 2 assists. I thought he wasn't horrific out there, but just an ugly loss for the Toronto Raptors at this point. And I refrained from diving into this one a little bit, so I wanted to make it its own segment, but serious questions regarding Scottie Barnes. Now, I'll continue to give out this award because, it's got to be given out. This is the one award that has to be given out every night. And the Scottie Barnes award tonight is going to the guy that has perplexed the most Raptors fans. That's essentially where I want to run with this award, because Scottie Barnes wasn't horrible tonight by any stretch of the imagination. He wasn't brutal. He's not like trash or anything like that, which I've seen, people love to bag on our top players and stuff. Like, look at the box score. 15 points, 4 assists, 3 rebounds, 1 steal, 2 blocks, filling up the stat sheet. Not horrible efficiency, 5 of 13, not great. 4 of 6 on the free throw line, not great, but not bad. Right, had not a bad plus minus in this one, but we talked about it this week. And Nick Nurse came out and combated these talks, combated the chatter that has been running around Raptors land. Is Scottie Barnes injured or not? And just watching it, it's either an injury or something's going on. And Josh Bloomberg made a tweet about this following the last night's game. And I completely echo his sentiments. I don't have the screenshot of it here. I messed that up. But basically saying that there's either an injury going on or something is keeping him from just keeping that assertiveness night in, night out. And obviously, taking that leap, there's high expectations. Some people are saying he'll be an all-star this year. I'm expecting the year 3 jump for Scottie to be the one where that really wows us as Raptors fans. I didn't have massive expectations for Scottie Barnes to improve his game this season, but it feels like this year, he definitely has more of an opportunity. There's more space for him to take a bigger chunk out of the offense, especially with all the injuries we've had at the start of the year. And he's even floated, even more so than last year, floated around almost the Andrew Wiggins and Minnesota Timberwolves effect, where, sometimes he'll take over a game. Obviously, I'm not talking about the effort and stuff, but just sometimes he lets the game just completely go by him, right? He'll catch the basketball, he'll just swing it, try to play within the flow of the offense without trying to get his. And, you respect him not being a ball hog, you respect him not going all out crazy, and whether it's due to injury, illness, whatnot, right? Scottie Barnes needs to be more aggressive. And I thought in the Houston Rockets game, he had the right mentality, going to the rim, going to finishing, trying to get more of his around the bucket. And even though he wasn't remarkably efficient down there in the Houston Rockets game, it opened up the floor for him. He was getting better shots than he has been in recent outings. So if I'm Scottie Barnes, especially where the injuries are happening, you're playing the Indiana Pacers tonight, who have quietly been decent this season. I'm looking to attack. I'm looking to go straight to the rim on this team and really set the tone. Set the tone for this squad. Or, if he is injured, Nick Nurse, sit him out, man. Sit him out. Let him get right. He dealt with an injury coming into preseason. He's tweaked that ankle a couple times now at the start of the year, right? Scottie Barnes is that dude, and we need him back playing at that level consistently. So let me know what you guys think about Scottie Barnes going forward. But the final thing we're discussing are the injury updates for Fred VanVleet, Siakam, Birch, and Precious going into the game against the Indiana Pacers. Now, as said, injuries have crippled us the start of the season, right? We've had a lot of injuries going on right now, and we got more coming in, as Fred VanVleet is questionable for tonight's game against the Indiana Pacers with his non-COVID illness. Siakam, Achua, and Birch will all remain out for this game. So we're not getting Birch back. We didn't assume Siakam, Achua will be returning either. And, Fred VanVleet could questionably be out. So we're going to need some people to really step up, especially with all these guys out. Who knows who else is injured, as, Nick Nurse mentioned in his post-game press conference. A couple guys have been laboring out there physically. So, hopefully everyone's back healthy. We can get a win against the Indiana Pacers and get back on track. But folks, you guys are the best for making this far. Check out the Instagram, the TikTok, the Twitter, all that cool stuff. Anyways, power went out in this podcast. We're still plowing through it. You guys are best. I'm signing out.